G'day everyone, Keith here again. Today is Saturday the 21st of October, 2 days after my appearance at the Kyogle Local Court on the 19th. Now, a couple of observations from what happened inside the court on the 19th, which should have been picked up on the cameras and audio in the court, which are relevant to the case. Are as follows. Firstly, there's multiple confirmations by Officer Fahy, and I use the term officer loosely, the man should be in jail. So the admissions that he made repeatedly in court when he went to entrap me in my vehicle, knowing full well that the documents had not been processed, despite them supposedly being processed for the stay on the suspension of my licence and the stay on the fines and all of those kind of things, which was stayed pending the appeal of the corrupt magistrate, and I use that term loosely too because he should definitely be in jail. I've got all sorts of interesting evidence of his links. Anyway, so the dodgy orders made by Mr. David Hailpern in the Kyogle Court, which were not duly processed in terms of both the notification of my payments. See, the notification for payment for fines that were issued was actually delivered in an envelope postmarked after the due date of those fines, with the intent that I would automatically default on those fines, which was what Officer Fahy was banking on. So anyway, going back to Officer Fahy and his being one of 3 police vehicles that tried to not stop me, but followed me and waited until I got out of town so that they could then turn the sirens on and stop me while I was away from public view, just out of Kyogle, opposite Kyogle tractors, heading towards Lismore on the day in question. So in court 2 days ago, Officer Fahy has repeatedly admitted that he did not stop my vehicle because of any flags on the system, but because he recognised my vehicle, and then followed me and out of town, and then made a ticket on a matter that was pending and on whose orders had been stayed, and he was also notified of that at the time. He made a ticket for driving with a disqualified licence, despite that actually not being the case and that being provable. So the key point I'm trying to make here is that Officer Fahy said multiple times that he recognised my vehicle, despite not actually ever having been involved with any incident involving my vehicle previously. Now, this completely, because my vehicle is quite recognisable, this completely conflicts, as in a false statement was made during the court appearance by Sergeant Anthony Smith, who I should also remind people has also identified himself previously to me on our first meeting as Officer Tony Fahy. Anyway, Officer Smith, who is now a sergeant, lied in court about the interception of my vehicle after he had previously issued threats against my person, my dog, in relation to matters involving his drug dealing operation involvement as part of a higher level command operation involving the supply, distribution of narcotics and the enslavement of various people under threat of incarceration if they do not take part in this police sanctioned and organised drug trafficking operation. Threatened me previously and pulled me over outside my front door because they tried to stop me after having threatened me in the middle of fucking nowhere when I had guests and my dog who they'd previously threatened. So, you know, I felt unsafe at the time, and I have mentioned that previously. But in court, so he's lying under oath here, and this is the point I'm making. In court, for the previous charges, I have just been informed by another officer who's never even seen my vehicle or been involved in any matters involving my vehicle, that my vehicle is quite recognisable to him and quite well known. So the two officers, Sergeant Smith and Officer McCormick, both said in court that my vehicle at the time of the offence relating to the initial disqualification, unlawful disqualification, due to evidence being ignored and disallowed by the false magistrate Halpern, those statements made saying that they did not recognise my vehicle and it was a completely random targeting of my vehicle at the time, have just been proven false by the admission multiply and several times by Tony Fahey last Thursday. So that's very interesting. So there's proof that the two officers have lied in court. Now, what cause would they have to lie in court and form, in Mr. Halpern's words, some kind of conspiracy against me? The fact that they're involved in high-level drug dealing and manufacturing operations as New South Wales policemen. Right? So, moving on from that, that's the first point I wanted to make. Second point I wanted to make was for this offence on Thursday, so-called offence, of me driving with a disqualified licence, which was agreed to in the court that it was actually stayed at the time, and I've actually got a video audio recording from the New South Wales Justice Department directly after being pulled over by Tony Fahey, agreeing, in fact, that the orders were stayed. So for the second time, my second only ever appearance in court for, under trial conditions, both of them in the local court. There's been 3 times. Once for the appeal as well. But so for the first time I was ever in court for anything ever, because of these dodgy drug dealing motherfuckers in the police and justice departments that are involved in the Kyogle and Casino and Lismore Area Commands. It's Lismore Area Command, blah, blah, blah. And with also collaboration and collusion from Richmond Area Command, vis-a-vis, I can prove that via recorded confessions from a female superintendent from Lismore Area Command, who admits to, 1, illegally surveilling me after I made complaints against the police, and 2, refusing to get in contact with me via the very same means, Facebook, which she was surveilling me under, to follow up complaints, and then saying I was uncontactable and not following up with the complaints. But anyway, that's a whole other issue. So going back to the second point I'm trying to make, and there's a large number of points, including the fact that police and justice officials shouldn't be involved in intimidating and trying to force people to manufacture drugs under threat of imprisonment if they do not comply. The point I'm trying to make is that for the second time, the second set of offences ever been pulled in front of the court for, both times I've had my evidence to prove my innocence disallowed. Except this time, I walked into the court, I had a USB stick, this is a lighter, but a USB stick, it's around here somewhere, with the exact evidence to prove, in fact, that I had my orders stayed. I was in the process of putting it in the machine, the laptop, in the courtroom, which already had media player up and ready to present the evidence, when the magistrate, not Halpern this time, but another fucker whose name I've forgotten, starts with an L, I'd have to pull up the order. Where are we? Is this it? No, it's around somewhere. Check the previous video. Anyway, So a second magistrate, who's supposedly unrelated to the matter, but is in fact actually on the take with these dodgy drug-dealing fucks, for no good reason whatsoever, prevented me from presenting the evidence I needed to clear my name by telling me I was not allowed to load the videos into the player in the courtroom provided for that specific purpose. Not only this, but he told me that I should have made prior arrangement to present my evidence in this format, despite the machine being there, booted up, fully loaded, and ready to operate for me to present my evidence and put it into the system. Following that, he asked if I had any other evidence, in an effort to go, oh, you've got no more evidence, case fucking, we win. But I actually did have some evidence. I had an official piece of paper stamped from the RMS, or whatever the New South Wales Government Service is, saying that indeed my stay on the orders had been processed at the time of this so-called offence. Now, what this fucking dodgy magistrate did was he took the piece of paper, the original, which I showed him as evidence, and he said, "I'm not going to consider this. I think this is, this doesn't tell me anything." And case proven, here's a $230 fine. And so I said, right, all right, if you're not even going to consider my evidence, I want my original copy back. At which point he refused to give me my evidence back. He refused to give me my evidence back. And I said, fuck this. Well, I didn't say fuck this. I was quite polite and well-mannered, and I didn't actually swear. But right now, I'm telling you, I wanted to say, fuck this, right? And I stood up and I said, give me my piece of paper back. Are you stealing from me, sir? And he did, in fact, give it back. But not until after some heated exchange, where that dodgy fuck was unlawfully trying to steal the evidence I was submitting. I might also say that this also happened to the original copy of the medical records for the assault from the original set of offences for which my licence was unlawfully disqualified, and subsequently that disqualification appealed. So, again, the disqualification was appealed, my licence was not suspended. Why the fuck was I in court on Thursday when the appeal was successful for driving with a disqualified licence? Which wasn't the case at the time, because the orders were stayed and the stay was upheld given the successful appeal. Could it be because these dodgy drug-dealing motherfuckers in the New South Wales Police and Justice Departments, in both the administrative and the judicial sections of the Justice Departments, along with certain senior as well as other officers in the Lismore and Richmond Area Commands, are involved in large-scale drug manufacturing and drug dealing operations? And after I witnessed the handover of a large package of drugs at a small event which I did, when I say event which I did, I had a business providing shade structures to events. I was quite successful at doing that. It was a part of a volunteer collective of artists and people would go up and set up temporary infrastructure for festivals. I'm actually talking to Danielle Mulholland at the moment from the Kyogle Council about assisting her to put on a lovely little local festival. That is, if I can actually stay in the area. Because what these fuckers are attempting to do, and have been pretty successful so far in doing, is after I witnessed their bullshit and their fucking dodgy drug deal, they've come onto my property, trespassed a number of times. They've come onto my property, as you can see in a previous video, and they've left a flash drive with footage from the 2012 Nimbin Mardi Gras, which I wasn't even at, showing very clearly a uniformed officer's boots taking footage there. That was left on my balcony. My generator has been sabotaged. I've had other equipment go missing. All since I witnessed these dodgy fucks and their drug deal just over the New South Wales border in Queensland. What the fuck are New South Wales police officers doing in Queensland? Anyway, so this event, which I witnessed this drug deal where the police were given a large package of drugs, I saw this. I thought, oh, fuck, I better not say anything in case I get in trouble with the cops. Oh, I shouldn't say anything about the fucking money and stuff I saw either. However, they've come onto my property, they've sabotaged my equipment, and they've harassed me, they've incriminated me. So I've held fucking senior fucking executive positions in fucking tier 1 multinational engineering firms, worked my tits off to try and come out here and run this sort of rainforest regeneration farm stay retreat, in the beautiful town of Kyogle. And it is quite beautiful, despite these cunts. It's a really lovely place. So I've come here to try and, have an early retirement and get this business coming. And for the last year and a bit, probably close to 2 years now, I've had nothing but harassment and intimidation since witnessing these dodgy fucking cops, and then also witnessing, as part of the whole process, dodgy collusion and conspiracy by New South Wales justice officials to deprive me of my liberty, my good name, my goods, and my ability to undertake my lawful business. And so as a result of these fuckers, I've basically been sent to the poorhouse, and they've tried to fine me again, not $230 like the magistrate said, but the clerk, who's definitely in on it, the clerks, there's a female one and a male one, who both work for Lismore and Kyogle courts, Lismore District Court and Kyogle courts. So this female clerk is giving me a $400 fine, despite the false magistrate, fucking starts with an L, I'll have to look it up. Anyway, the false magistrate only giving me a $230 fine. This clerk, who was one of the two responsible for issuing my fine notices after the default date for the original set of offences, which luckily I happened to go in and appeal, on the day of the fucking, appeal date. So, all the appeals and everything were processed, it was all stayed, And then 2 months later, I find that stuff hasn't been sent forward again to the appropriate licensing authorities to reinstate my license during the stay period. What the fuck? So, previous proof of collusion by judicial administrative officers attached to both Kyogle and Lismore courts. Again, proof on Thursday of these same corrupt judicial officers then changing my fine from $230 to $400. Why? To try and impoverish me, and basically having shut down my ability to undertake my work and my lawful business, basically prevent me from being able to pay any of the fucking bills I have, or, even eat. I'm relying currently on donations of food from guests that are coming here to, help me out, manage the farm so I don't lose it. Yeah? So, how much more evidence I've got a big bag of evidence, by the way, and I've got it in multiple copies in multiple locations. So if you fuckers want to try and come look for it, you can fuck off, because it's in multiple locations with multiple copies. But I have a big brief of evidence, which was denied presentation during my appeal, and was denied on the grounds that I didn't submit it originally, and it was denied originally in court when I tried to submit it in Kyogle by the false magistrate Halpern. I want answers. More than answers, I have answers. I want justice. And I want the silks of these bastards to be hung on the wall, and I want these assholes to be sent to prison. I want these cops to be sent to prison, these dodgy drug-dealing cops. And I want these administration officials to be sent to prison. Extortion, tampering with evidence, perjury, intimidation, and in the case of 2 officers, assault and battery. Did I say perjury? What else? There's a whole heap of them. I've got it in a previous post. Anyway, these assholes need to go to jail, and the whole system needs to be taken over because the civil system is so full of corrupt individuals. The thing needs to be taken over and put to a temporary administration by non-civil authorities, whilst it is cleaned out and upstanding non-corrupt individuals are placed into functionary, command and other roles. So, anyway, I've said my piece. I'll also say, just as a sign-off, these actions against me, after witnessing the dodgy drug dealing and manufacturing operations by New South Wales Police and senior police, these unlawful activities that have gone on against me, I will not give my consent to any unlawful property seizure. I will not be paying the fines. They also want me to pay $125 just for the privilege of appealing to their district court, which has already been shown to be under their control and corrupt as well. And I should also mention that at the district court in Lismore, which is under the control of Miller, I think his name is, being the area commander, who's quite well aware of all of these activities and previously declined to investigate my complaints. They basically took away all of the penalties against which Halpern signed up to me as a bit of a, here's a sweet thing, you don't have to pay any fines and you got no license disqualification, but we're still going to incriminate you, and therefore you can't go up to the next level to appeal it again, because what we say is final and apparently you can't appeal it anymore. Now, that I don't think really is legal or lawful either, because as I understand it, above district court there's the New South Wales State Court and there's also the federal court. Now I've been told that I'm not actually allowed to appeal the decisions made in the district court by district court people, administrative officers, and also the judge. What the fuck? So anyway, this rant's been going for about 25 minutes. Oh yeah, that's right. I was in the process of saying I will not comply with any unlawful property seizures here, and I would like to suggest that any individuals or families that have been press-ganged into the manufacture of drugs for these criminals in police uniform, get your evidence together, sign your affidavits, and start to collect them for a federal case. I would send them to Mick Kilty. He's in the Federal Police. He's the Commissioner, I believe. So if you start getting all of your evidence together and your stories of oppression and intimidation and all of that to form a case so we can shut down these fuckers, that would be the way to go. Given the fact that the police who are involved in these high-level drug manufacturing and distribution operations now have access to automatic guns, I would suggest fortifying and arming yourselves against these assholes, working out a community plan. So for instance, around the Northern Rivers, there's quite a lot of cliffy roads. If these guys are going to come for you, I would suggest working out coordinated community plans to prevent access, egress, and unlawful activities by these drug-dealing officers, and arm yourselves in the event that they try to unlawfully subjugate you. As a as someone who knows a little bit about strategy and defensible positions, the Northern Rivers is quite a good location given the hilly country for being able to mount local militias in terms of setting watches, ambushes, and all of that kind of thing. Large heavy rocks are really good at stopping vehicles, and I'd recommend any weapons that you may have, licensed or otherwise, be kept well accessible, but hidden, quite well hidden, obviously. There's a case recently in a couple of cases where they've been looking for caches of weapons and stuff because they realise that there's an uprising coming soon. What I say is be ready for the uprising and be prepared to take part in it, because these unlawful drug-dealing motherfuckers need to be stopped. And I am talking about the New South Wales Police and Justice Departments, or rather the officers that have become involved therein. Making those officers and those individuals terrorists embedded in state functions, persecuting the people of New South Wales. So be ready, be armed, and be prepared to make a stand when the time comes. Have a good day.